Why does the Bride of Christ story pass through Judah and Tamar? Why does the Bible suddenly pause Joseph's epic story to give us a scandal about Judah, Tamar, and a disguise? Genesis 38 feels like a detour. Right after Joseph is sold into slavery, the narrative suddenly shifts to Judah, one of Jacob's sons. He marries a Canaanite woman, has 3 sons, and arranges for Tamar to marry the oldest. But his first 2 sons, and Onan, are wicked, and God takes their lives. Tamar is left childless, waiting for the youngest son to grow up, but Judah refuses to give her to him. Tamar is sidelined, dishonored, and desperate. Then comes the scandal. Tamar disguises herself as a prostitute, and Judah, not recognizing her, sleeps with her. She conceives twins. When Judah later hears Tamar is pregnant, he's ready to condemn her. Until she produces the evidence, his seal and staff, proof that he was the father. Judah is caught, exposed, humbled. He says, "She is more righteous than I, since I wouldn't give her to my son, Shelah." Out of that broken, messy story come 2 sons, Perez and Zerah. Why does the Bible preserve this chapter? Because from Perez's line comes King David, and from David's line comes Christ. That means the Bride of Christ, the church, traces part of her story back to this scandal. That's shocking, but it's also the gospel. Paul writes in Romans 5, verses 20, "Where sin increased, grace increased all the more." Genesis 38 shows that God's covenant doesn't flow through polished perfection. It flows through grace bigger than sin. And here's the punchline. Judah, the same man who sold Joseph into slavery, becomes the ancestor of the Messiah. The same Tamar, sidelined and disguised, becomes part of Christ's genealogy. Matthew 1 verse 3 records her name right there in the family line of Jesus. The Bride of Christ is a living testimony that God redeems what looks irredeemable. Our past doesn't disqualify us. It becomes the stage where grace is magnified. Genesis 38 whispers a hard but beautiful truth. The church is not a spotless family tree of perfect people. She is the bride bought by scandalous grace, standing only because God refuses to let sin have the last word. Judah's hypocrisy is exposed, Tamar's desperation is honored, and Christ's lineage is secured through it all. If you believe the Bride of Christ exists because grace writes stories even sin can't erase, then put the word grace in the comments. Because in Christ's church, the mess isn't the ending. It's the place God starts writing redemption.